Hello, everyone. My name is Sanoth, and today I want to talk about my Catholic religion. I was brought up a Catholic, and I will probably die a Catholic, but I am not a practicing Catholic. I consider myself a spiritual person. I am still learning about different religions, and I love to talk about different religions with different people, and I'm still learning and searching. And even at 56, I still consider myself a work in progress with a lot of things, and one of them is religion. Our family's matriarch has died, and she was 84 years old. She had five children. All of them were brought up Catholic. Four of them were present for her services. Two of them are practicing Catholics, two are not, two are spiritual. While they are spiritual, they still respect the Catholic religion like I do. It is customary in the Catholic religion to have a mass. Then at the cemetery, there's a small ceremony, and then the person gets buried. So while the mass was being celebrated, there's a part where the priest tells you that there's going to be communion, and please step up to receive communion. If you, under the Catholic religion, if you have had a confession of your sins. So two of the practicing Catholics stood up along with a lot of other people, not all, but a lot of other people stood up to receive the communion. My cousins, the two who are spiritual, decided to sit and wait for everybody to receive the communion. And while they were sitting there, the priest approached them and asked them if they were going to receive communion. And they said no. So this priest decided to chastise them in front of our whole family and criticize them for not receiving the communion, because my aunt was a practicing Catholic, and they should be also, and they should follow suit in her footsteps and also be practicing Catholics. Well, they chose not to. But the priest, instead of respecting their wishes and their decision, again decided to chastise them in front of the whole family. And he gave them a very stern, disapproving look and said that he was very disappointed in their decision. So he proceeded to finish the mass, and before he sent everybody off, he decided to take it upon himself to use this very sad, hurtful experience, tearful experience, and he decided to use this particular situation as a teaching tool. This priest was rude, he was inappropriate, he was inconsiderate, and he decided that in front of everybody, he was going to teach my cousins a lesson. And while my aunt's casket, it's still present, and we're all waiting to be blessed away, and we're waiting for the casket procession, he decided to go up to the altar and decided again to use this as a teaching moment. He said that It was very rude. He's saying this to my cousins, and they are at the first pews, and he said to them that it was very rude of them not to receive communion, that it was very disappointing, and that he would be speaking for my aunt in saying that he was very disappointed at them for not standing up and receiving communion, and even more so for not being practicing Catholics. That he knew my aunt, and that he knew that she wanted them to be practicing Catholics. And he, in the middle of being so freaking rude, he said, "Please forgive me, but I know that I'm speaking for your mother, and I can honestly say that I am very disappointed. And in these hard times, we all need to be practicing religious folk, and that by them not being practicing Catholics, they were doing a huge detriment to the religion." My poor cousins are looking at each other. Their children are looking at my cousin and their mother, and they're confused, and they're in my mind, I'm thinking, they're thinking, what the hell, of all times where they could maybe be sympathetic, that the priest could use this time to be respectful, he decided that he was going to be disappointed at them. These poor guys lost their mother, and he chose this moment to be rude at them, to chastise them, to show them his disapproval as a priest, that they are not practicing Catholics. I have a 29-year-old son, and I was trying to raise him as a Catholic. And at one particular time, when him and I went to church, we went to a mass, the priest decided in the sermon that he was going to say how practicing Catholics were going to heaven. And whoever or whatever person decided not to be a Catholic, that they were not going to be saved. That only Catholics and practicing Catholics were going to go to heaven. And who were not practicing were going to hell, quote unquote. My son looks at me with the same look that my cousin's children were looking at them, saying, what the hell? You're supposed to go to church. The priest, in my view, and I could be wrong, at the sermon is when he should take a moment and teach about being a Catholic, and teach about God and Jesus and his mother, and love for one another, and respect for one another, and acceptance for our differences, not to chastise, not to say you're going to hell because you're not a practicing Catholic, and not to say that they are disappointed in you because you're not a practicing Catholic. And so in this particular instance, going forward onto my aunt's service, it is such an unfortunate act that this priest decided to say this and act the way he did. One of the reasons, again, in my opinion, why Catholics are not as in the majority, or maybe they are, I know Christianity as a religion is. I don't know the numbers or the data on being a Catholic. But I do know that because of the sexual abuse of the priests on children, the Catholic religion has suffered. And for this priest to use this as a teaching moment and to say that my cousins were not Catholic and were being very inappropriate, and that religion, the Catholic religion, was suffering because of their actions, he is 100% wrong. The reason, in my opinion again, that the Catholics and Catholic religion is suffering is because of this priest's actions. You do not do that in front of the whole church and chastise one of the people there. Instead of embracing the differences, instead of being respectful, he chose to use the pulpit. He chose to use being a man of the cloth and be disrespectful. He did not show my cousin's love at that moment. He did not choose to respect the differences. He did not choose love. A priest that loves its flock should have behaved better, should have been more respectful. And unfortunately, he chose to do the opposite. The irony in all of this is that one of my cousins, in spite of being spiritual, decided to go back to church, decided to go back and accept the Catholic religion. And it's just unfortunate that this priest decided to do what he did. I myself think he was wrong. I know that I'm also criticizing this priest for what he did, but I see my faults. I know my faults. At least I know a lot of my faults. But a priest should have known better. He should have accepted them for who they were and for who they are, and respect their differences and respect their pain. My aunt's casket is in front of their mother's casket is in front of them. And this priest very inappropriately decided to teach them a lesson. Please let me know what you think. Let me know if I'm wrong. Let me know, try to teach me something different, because this to me is very hurtful. This to me has hurt our beliefs in the Catholic religion. No one should feel better than anybody. No one should be holier than thou. No one. We all have our faults. And for this priest to stand up on the altar and to try to teach my cousins a lesson, that to me is wrong. But anyway, please let me know what you think. Please subscribe to my channel. Let me know what you think again. If you have any questions, please ask them. I have different videos on here. Hopefully you'll like what I'm talking about and subscribe to my channel. I will have other videos on different topics. But for this one and for the Catholic religion, let me know what you think. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.